to be uncomfortable means it's time to grow. To be uncomfortable means that you have already grown and it is time for you to make major shifts. It is your birthright to live different eras in this lifetime. We're not supposed to do the same thing every day. We're not supposed to just be comfortable. And it's interesting how you can be in a toxic relationship, situationship, or household, whatever the case is. And it is better for you to stay there. Your mind, like it literally plays tricks on you. You may think that it is better for you to stay there than for you to move out or try something different, date someone different, go back to school, ask for a promotion, apply for a promotion, apply for a new job. Like your mind tries to keep you safe. It just doesn't know the difference between what can stifle you and what will help you soar, what will help you grow. I think we put so much emphasis on trying to make things work that a lot of us are secretly suffering. And I'm here to tell you, like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that anymore. You have to feel good. You have to be happy with your relationships. Do not settle. And that's not only romantic relationships, that's your relationships with your friends, that's your relationships with your family. Of course, you can always try to work things out with people. Have a real conversation about, hey, this is what I need. You know, how have I been? Have I been a good friend to you? Have I been a good daughter to you? A good sister? And sometimes people will give you feedback and it may suck, but that's for you to readjust because we have to constantly evolve. If we want to be the girlies and guys that we look up to, literally, there's some hard work that needs to be done. And all of that shit is uncomfortable. No one talks about adult friendships and how friendship breakups are just as hard, just as tragic as having a relationship breakup. It's devastating, especially if you had a friend from high school or middle school and like you basically grew up together and you all had like this vision of what the friendship would look like. Like you thought, okay, you know what? Like we're going to grow up, we're going to have our different careers, get married or travel or have kids or whatever the different timelines are. Like you were excited to see your friend in their grown woman or grown man like energy, and now you've changed, they've changed, you may have had a falling out, you may have just grown apart. Sometimes you realize even for your mental health that you just cannot show up for certain people. Everyone's going through their own transitions, and in the end relationships come to an end. No one talks about how freaking uncomfortable that is. Like, do we have a discussion about it? Do we just decide to go our separate ways? Closure, like, is closure even real or is it just a illusion? Because there's been times where I've constantly showed up for people and they've showed me who they are. By the way, people always show you who they are. And it's just like, I think I'm just going to distance myself. Like, I don't think a conversation is necessary in this instance. And there's been other times where, just like a breakup, we've been like, you know what, this isn't necessarily working out. And that's hard, but okay, you move on. You know what I mean? It is normal to not have certain people in your life. It can be friends, it can be family. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about like that part of being uncomfortable. The fear of starting, wanting to do something, just having all of the signs, the cycles, like an idea keeps popping up in your face. I say this in a lot of videos, but if you do not carry out that idea or that vision that's coming to you, someone else is going to create it. And no one likes a should've, could've, would've story. That's one of the things that, unfortunately, I have been dealing with, just feeling like, you know what, I'm not ready, so I'm not going to put this content out. Or it's not looking aesthetic or the way I want it to, so no one's going to see it. As a creator, I'm just like, no, I'm showing up. I'm showing up for the remainder of the year and beyond, no matter where I'm at. And when it comes to starting something new, I just want to add in there that you do not have to tell everyone your dreams, your plans, your visions, because they may not necessarily understand. If you haven't followed me on Threads or Twitter, go ahead and do so. I want to read you all a thread that I put up the other day. Stop sharing your dreams with others. it's none of their business. Those who have not lived it cannot identify with it. Those who cannot identify with it cannot truly support it. This is also uncomfortable to talk about because I don't want to make it seem as if I have it all figured out, but it is true. I'm seeing people not necessarily chase their dreams because they think they're too old. Like when you hit the late 20s, the early 30s and beyond, you're just like, okay, well, I have this career. I've been working a couple of years. Like this is where it stops. And you see people talking about like, yeah, I want to start a blog or YouTube channel, and years have gone by and they haven't done it, or their business isn't doing well, but they've only been in business for like a year, maybe 2 years, so they're throwing in the towel. And that was almost me. I'm not getting the views that I deserve. I'm not getting the sales that I deserve. But have I shown up enough? Have I given it my all? And then on top of that, just having feedback from people, whether it's good or bad, can alter how you show up. So you may have a friend or a family member that's like, hey, I haven't seen that video yet. And then that can give you anxiety. Or they're just like, I don't know why you're doing that. You're not even getting views. Or are you sure this is something you want to do? You've been at it for a while. If it's not working out, maybe you need to make a shift. Little comments like that, whether good or bad, that can set you off. That can make you not want to show up, or make you or push you in a direction that you didn't necessarily want to go in. So you have to be so careful with who you tell your dreams and visions to. Most of us have our confidants, maybe one or two people, your parents or whoever that you go to when it comes to just sharing a thought, sharing an idea that you have. For me, I found that I would get dopamine hits off of that. Like I would get that feel good energy, that feel good vibe, and I haven't even started anything. So I had to cut out the dopamine. Like I'm not looking for assurance from anyone. I need to find assurance within myself. And assurance means I am planning my video or I am doing things for my business and then I'm actually executing it. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up in like dopamine hits. You don't need validation. You don't need assurance from anyone. You just need to look inward and trust your gut. So there's another thread that I wrote and I think I want to share with you all because I think it's really important to understand that repetition equals success. Consistency equals success. Discipline equals success. All the tasks that most of us avoid but still hope for success. The journey might be different, but the formulas have not changed. Think about this. If you repeat a behavior or if you repeat something, I'll use the example of YouTube because it's my platform of choice and I am a creator. But if you keep posting videos, eventually success will come about, whether that's views, whether that's building your community, whether that's getting your message out there, whether that's becoming better at video, whatever your goals are. Through repetition, you don't have a choice but to get better. Like that's just the law of nature and how things work, right? The second point, consistency equals success. Think about this. When you are consistent, and this is something, I'm not going to lie to you all, this is something that I struggle with because I feel like if I don't have the aesthetics, if I'm not completely together, mind, body, soul, like I'm not showing up, I'm switching it up, okay? You're going to see sides of me that probably no one should see, but it's what I have to do to force myself out of hermit mode. So basically, consistency equals success. You're posting every Tuesday, or you're posting once a week, or you're showing up in your blog, your podcast. You are showing up in the gym. You're showing up at work early, you're doing different tasks to get your recognition, to be promoted, or whatever the case is. When you're consistent, people notice. The universe, if anything, the universe, God notices. And I don't want to get too woo-woo with you all, but literally, that's what happens when you're consistent. When you repeat a behavior, you get a outcome. And you just have to hope that it's your desired outcome. So that's why you have to be intentional. But the last point is discipline equals success. So discipline is, for me, at this point in time, this era that I'm in, it is my wellness era. And sure, your girl has some days where I don't eat the best or I don't go to the gym. But for the most part, for the past couple of months, I have been showing up. I can say that I am a gym girly. Do I have it all figured out? No. Do I still get gym anxiety? Yes. I'm sure it will fall off at some point, but I push through. Even when I'm traveling, like, and that's the thing too, a lot of us make so many excuses. You can go to the park and walk around for free. Your hotel, if you travel for work or whatever the case is, like literally your hotel may have a gym. 9 times out of 10, it has a gym. Your apartment, depending on where you live, some apartments have gyms, or you can pay for a gym membership. Moving your body is so essential. And I've noticed like how my energy levels are up. I've noticed how I feel more confident and happy like within myself. And it's just one of those things where it's like you have to be disciplined. There's some mornings I wake up and I'm like, girl, no. 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 And another part of me is like, well, you have goals, don't you? You want to feel good about yourself, right? You want to get some of this stress, some of this energy off of you, right? Well, we need to go to the gym. And I am at the gym. There's sometimes even I'll be on the bus or the train and I'm just like, girl, we can just go back home. Or, it's just like, no, we're going to push through. And with anything, whether you're trying to move, career advancement, relationships that you want to attract, a high value man, a high value woman, whatever the case is, like literally you have to be disciplined in how you show up in your life for yourself, your body, your mind, your soul. Like it's all interconnected. And a lot of us know what we have to do. Some of us don't know where to start. And we'll talk more about that towards the end of the video. But like a lot of us know what doesn't feel good. And we still continue to do it because that is being comfortable. But in hindsight, you're actually uncomfortable because you don't like what you're doing. You don't like what you're seeing. You don't like your daily routine and activities. And it's just like, let me start by saying I am not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I am just a girl, literally figuring it all out as I go. But I spoke about this in my previous video, or maybe it'll be the video after this, just talking about us having 4 months to like get it together. But in general, you can get it together. You can reinvent yourself at any time. But to unlearn is so freaking uncomfortable. To unlearn everything you've known is super uncomfortable. And this may or may not resonate with you. But growing up as a child of immigrants, as I guess a first gen to like live in the United States. I don't know all of the terminologies, but basically both of my parents are from the Caribbean, and I moved here by myself when I was in high school. Since then, my parents come back and forth and all of that to the United States, but in general, I've been here for a long time. Because of that, I've had a very interesting childhood, and just my thought process has been very interesting. There's been an evolution of sorts where like, because I grew up in this environment and now as an adult living in major cities, living in Miami, living in Atlanta, living in New York, traveling to LA, like I've seen different walks of life and been exposed to different people. And from that, I'm able to pull how I want to show up as an adult, like my beliefs, just systems that I am putting in place for myself. And I've done this in my mid to late 20s where like, a lot of our habits and personalities are already solid, right? You start to realize some of the things that you've been taught as a child or as a teen. Like some of the things just don't make sense. Like let's not even get into society because then this video is going to be too long, and like we're not doing that today. I grew up from semi-humble beginnings. There's a part of me, for instance, that has the work ethic. Like I need to work hard, and that is the only way that you can be successful. And it's just like, that is true, but there's so many beliefs that are rooted in survival mode And I realized how much of a lack mindset that I had. I can only show up or create actions based off of the tools that I've been dealt. And the tools that I've been dealt is exposure. There's a good and the bad that I can pull from family or friends, but I just choose the good. And, there's some traditions and there's some practices that I hold close to my heart. Like I hold close to my heart. And there's some things that just does not align, and that's completely fine. It's tricky to navigate and it's tricky to talk about because obviously, like I said, my parents, or not even parents, but just family and the environment that I grew up in, people were doing the best that they could with the knowledge that they had. Like they had to work, they had to provide. There's no time for leisure, there's no time to relax. And like, I'm seeing different parts of that in my everyday life where I just feel the need to hustle, hustle, hustle. Like even doing things like creating a YouTube video or I don't know, going to get a massage. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, no, I can't do that because, you get a massage on your birthday or anniversary or special occasions. And it's just like, damn, like I can treat myself once in a while. You know what I mean? Like I can go sit down at a restaurant and have a meal once in a while. Why does doing something like that, just sitting and having a nice meal once in a while, why does that give me so much anxiety? Or I feel like I should be holding on to all of my money, like I can't spend it on anything. Or going to the supermarket, picking the cheapest bread that I can find, the $2 loaf, because like that's what I should get. When I can at least afford to get something that's $5. Or I don't know if you all know what I'm trying to say. It's just like when you really evaluate yourself and you realize how much of a lack mindset you have to unlearn that. And I know I'm kind of like rambling all over the place. And obviously, I'm not saying to live above your means by any means. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying to go out here and buy the latest Chanel purse and all that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that like life is literally too short not to enjoy yourself. For me, it's just having a nice meal once in a while, or going and buying myself a bottle of wine and just having a self-care night where I light my candle and have a glass of wine. Like I was taught like those things are just like luxury or you're bougie, or you know what I'm saying? And it's just like I had to really unlearn that, because if you live in lack, that is what will show up for you, lack. If you feel like you don't have enough, you will never have enough. Like you have to be delusional. I know this has been going around the internet and you're just like, this girl is crazy. But you literally have to be like, I'm an abundant being. Like I'm abundant. Money comes to me easily and effortlessly. Opportunity comes to me easily and effortlessly. Like I can't tell you how much times I've went out with like good energy and someone's like, oh, do you want me to buy your drink? Or I go out with friends to eat and they're just like, oh, I got it. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Like I can't tell you how much times. Or for instance, just the other day, kid you not, I went to get lunch at this place and I was just like, ooh, like I would really like, it's kind of like a concept like Digs. I can't remember the name right now. And they had like cookies, brownies, and like cornbread. I'm a sucker for cornbread. The South has rubbed off on me a little bit, just a little bit. Ooh. But anyways, I was just like, yeah, I want some cornbread. And the guy was just like, oh, well, since you're new here, you've never been here, like here's the cornbread for free. I kid you not. I just went in there with like the good energy. Like I was like, hi, how are you? He's like, good. How are you? Have you been here before? I'm like, no, I haven't been here before, but oh, I'm so hungry. Like, just going in with good energy, free cornbread. There's been times where, for instance, I ordered a matcha and that they charge extra for oat milk and the person's like, do-do-do-do-do. And there's no oat milk charge. Or I see like employee discount. That has happened a few times where someone kind of used their employee discount for me. I'm just like, what? But you have to go into every situation with good energy. Like sometimes, yes, I encounter some rude people that want to get the business, clearly. And I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. It's not me. Everyone's going through their own thing. But all that to say, you have to really look at yourself where you're at really come to terms with your thought process, with just who you are as a person, your personality, and you have to try to counter that. I'm in a space where first of all, I took a 3 month sabbatical. This is random. I took a 3 month sabbatical off of social media because I really wanted to think about the content I wanted to put out there. Okay. Content like this, where I'm talking to you like you're a homegirl, you're a homeboy, like you're a friend, like, hey, do you feel the same way? Like that's the type of content I want to create. And it crippled me with anxiety because I'm just like, I'm so used to having these structured videos and all of that. No, if I'm inspired, I'm creating. And like, I guess I just want to pass that on to someone out there because I know it will make sense. You have to unlearn everything you've been taught. Everything is an illusion. And you have to create routines, structures, thought processes that make sense to you. And also understand that you are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to change your mind at any point in time. There's some things that you learn from your childhood, like the examples I was trying to give you all, or just from your upbringing that won't resonate or won't make sense. And you may feel like the black sheep. You may feel as if you're doing too much or something's wrong with you, but no, nothing's wrong with you. Like, you're becoming an adult. Your frontal lobe is developing. Like, if you don't like something, you don't like something. It's okay to say no. Like, that's another thing too. Being uncomfortable is realizing that I was low-key, high-key a people pleaser. And in this era, I'm saying no if it doesn't align with my mental health, if I don't necessarily have the time, because I refuse to continue to stretch myself thin. When is the last time you did something that you've never done? You've taken a leap of faith. You stepped out. You showed that light. You created that content. Like, you took that class. You asked for that promotion. You asked for that salary raise. You put applications out there. You took a chance on yourself. Like, when was the last time? Because if you haven't done it, you can't be angry or you can't be sad if you're not getting the results that you want.